Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 11. This is where we get to look at all of my weekend gardening tasks that were completed. I completed about 80% of the things on my list, so I'm feeling very excited and accomplished. The first thing I wanted to do was mow the path. Pick up branches has been on my list for weeks and weeks. And weeding this little area, which is one of my favorite areas of the garden. It has a lot of potential to be a quite quaint and romantic space. So I was picking up the boards that I put down that were always intended to just be an edging guide and not edging for the flower bed. But as we can see, they have stuck around for a few seasons because they were wood and blended in with the wood raised bed. So I did weed eat the entire path in lieu of using the lawnmower today. And I'm happy to report that I did pick up those branches. They were easy to break with my foot and those boots, and I discarded them. And another thing that was on my task was to get rid of these pots of Nandina. And surprisingly, I had one to come back. This is new wood. I've eventually cut away the old wood. Then this was a pot that I sort of weed eated and broke it, and there was another surprise there, so that's been discarded as well. And then there was this pot that did hold a dug up Nandina from the backyard. So underneath the broken pot were a colony of some type of ant that looks pretty dangerous. So what I did was put that inside of a recycled Amazon bag, sealed it up, and threw that away along with that pot. So the next task was to look at the transplanted Tradescantia and look at the pots that are somewhat my favorites right now, mostly because of the color, but not because of the floppy petunias. I'm still having a problem with these, but because they are giving me amazing color, I can't help but love them. So, what am I supposed to do with these ajuga? You know me. I needed to tie these pots in. I knew there was a missing element to them. So, what looked like 4 to 5 pieces of ajuga actually turned into about 3 good pieces, which I repotted in both of these pathway pots. And the other little piece I parked over in a pot on the potting table. So, when I examined this a little further, my goal was to cut these out easily with a butter knife. Now, all the kitchen utensils that you see in my videos were actually found in this backyard. Apparently, there were children here. I've found toys. I've found spoons, about 3 spoons, this butter knife, and also some socks and some other things. Well, as we can see, this is looking nice. It doesn't look like I'm being extremely careful, but I am notorious for breaking a nicely blooming stem from a plant. So, with much care, I dug around, making sure not to dig up some ivy I've put in there, and I parked 2 nice pieces of ajuga that will hopefully trail from the sides of these pots just a little bit. I think that actually does something I didn't know that was missing, and that's tie it all together. So, in addition to the ivy, the creeping jenny, and the wire vine that I have chosen as my recipe for trailing plants, this ajuga is now a part of that and maybe for the rest of my garden life. I just really love these 4 ground covers slash trailing plants. So we're looking at that new look Dusty Miller, that light gray color plant that I do not like. I had a whole flat of those when I did a circle garden, which there's no trace of now, but of course I saved those. So what I've been doing, and was on my list as well, was to transplant some new look Dusty Miller. I get to check that off, and I retilled this spot that I've been planning to put it in and put it in there today. And I'm finding that leaving them as whole pieces and letting them acclimate works better than trying to dig up some roots. So I supplemented with a little soil from my winter sowing endeavors. And this is a piece of lamb's ear that I had transplanted. It's looking poorly because the soil there is bad. We see roots from the trees. But I also had transplanted a new piece of lamb's ear today. So after looking at all that unpleasant and unattractive stuff, I decided to go to my favorite chair and look at some seeds. I've sown some new zinnias because let me tell you about my winter sowing. I'm finding out that everything is weeds. I have one possible viable dwarf snapdragon, but this was like an episode of Let's Make a Deal. I kept choosing the wrong door. I had looked in these pots, I knew what was in them, but to my surprise, every time I opened them, I was highly disappointed because apparently this weed is prolific and had made its way into every container. So as I undo these, and I'm so happy to get rid of the milk jug, look over here, I discovered that that's a snapdragon along with gnats that were hiding inside of these containers. That's mostly what I had. I don't even know this particular weed, even though I've looked it up. I'm so disappointed that I don't care to know. So the next time you see these, besides those propagated rose bushes, all of this will be cleared out. I was hoping that some of these seedlings were the vervain or the verbena that I had in these pots, but I don't believe it is. So besides the bulbs that I hope will still come up in the cans and jugs, we're holding on to a little hope that something will appear. Now, over here is where I had said I would direct sow some seeds. That had been on my list all season as well, and I wasn't sure where to put them. So, along with this newly acquired Tradescantia, the spiderwort that I have propped up, along with some other spiderworts that were propped up around the garden, I did that direct sowing over there and stabilized a lot of that Tradescantia. Now it gets another week of life because most of them look like they're perking up a bit and may fill in and be beautiful. So I haven't given up on them yet. However, speaking of giving up, I'm so glad I didn't give up and feel all sad about my plumbago because within 1 week we have new blooms, and each day the blooms begin to open a little bit more and more. And this is the one that's blooming is the one that has been parked in this chair since I acquired them. The second one was placed in a different location and it's a little behind, but I'm hopeful. It was actually over here in this corner. I am hopeful that it will bloom as well. Now, these are some benches I had in my in-between garden at my mom's house. And I also had some fairly new bricks over there. These things were so heavy. But I decided I need to raise these up a bit. So I swapped them out from the smaller bricks and put in 2 of 3 of the larger bricks under the wood. Now my next project is to stain those. That is my goal. Wash and restain the wood. So another thing I'll be doing next weekend or over this next week is deciding what shade-loving, flowering pink plant I can put in that spot. As well, the ajuga is really cutting up. I never knew I loved ajuga so much. And again, I do not want to plant these in the ground. I'm keeping them portable in case my move comes earlier than expected. But I am really thinking about lining that wall with some ajuga. Some of these things are here, and within the twinkling of the eye, they may be gone and packed up to the next garden. But anyway, I'm glad you decided to stick around. I hope I've given you a lot to look forward to for episode 12 as I clean up this space and make it as beautiful as I can while I am here. Sometimes we don't know where life will take us. Who knows? I might be here for 2 or 3 more garden seasons, or I could be packing it all up this summer and leaving. But in the meanwhile, I thank you for your time. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you're on Instagram, please give me a follow over there at Madame Savad Garden. As I've said, these leaves, not leaves, these branches are all gone now. These wood slats are leaned up against the wall. I don't know if I'll stain them or put them back down or make more benches or what. But that's what we have for now, and I thank you for your time. Until the next one, bye-bye.